Hello, hello, happy Sunday. Okay, everyone, let me see if I have anyone watching. Happy Sunday. I'm gonna hang in and see if I got anyone watching. Um, I'm wondering why StreamYard is showing me this now, but happy Sunday. Let me know where you're watching me from. A word of gratitude. Hi, happy Sunday. What are you doing? Just leave it. That thing is not charged. It is. Yeah, so unplug it. And let's open it. Happy Sunday. Thank you for joining. Your girl So Babes here. I'm just about to share this on my other platforms. Thanks for joining. I'm actually trying to get rid of this example something from StreamYard. They make it look like I'm using the free version, which of course I'm not. So how are we doing? Happy Sunday to you all. Please kindly comment and let me know where you're watching me from. I'm so excited to know where you're watching me from. Today, the whole idea is to some words of gratitude, right? I'm looking. Hello, Afani Shelby. I see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Watching from Douala, Cameroon. Thanks for joining. I'll give it a few minutes and see if anyone else joins, and then we can kick this off. I've used my broadcast app for so long, but I actually struggled today to get it to work right. So that's how long it's been that I've been online. So thank you, Paul, for joining. So today's is a word of gratitude. I just want to be able to say thank you to the many people that have trusted my vision, to the many people that have followed my page. Again, you see, it is a bit of a struggling page, as we all see. Everything being equal, at some point I had wished that I was already maybe at least like 5K followers, but I'm still in the 1.2s. But you know what? It is not the following that pushes me more. It is the desire to do what I do, and also being able to impact lives, right? It's the how many calls I get or messages I get and say, hey, Solange, that content was great. Those are the things that move me. But doesn't mean that I don't want you people to market my page, to follow it. Of course I want to, so that at some point in life I'll also be able to make some change from sales from Facebook, right? So again, I do appreciate those of you who continue to share. I definitely appreciate those of you who follow. Again, Afani, I know that you're one of my biggest followers. I always see you liking and sharing my stuff. And since today is a gratitude day, I'm definitely going to be saying thanks to you. And one of the things I don't do a lot on my page, again, it's not one of the goals, is to do giveaways, but because I have seen your name repeatedly over and over again. I have seen you share my videos, even the times when I have been quiet or I had like a slow down to revive and come back. I have seen you follow. So for that, this girl will be blessing you today with 25,000 francs CFA. So after the show, send me your Momo and I'll get someone to send you 25,000. I hope that makes a difference, and that helps you to take care of something. So again, I do appreciate you and I thank you for being a consistent follower. Even when I am not sharing content, I see you. So I do appreciate you a lot for that. So today I came out in my African regalia, not something I wear very often on my korobo head. I was going to read the first reading in church today. It was fun. And when I got up stage there to read at the pulpit, to read the first reading in church, a quick thought came to my mind. What if my head tie, because of course I don't know how to do it well. I tried my best. Haley helped me a little bit. What if it falls off? What if it unties? And for this head tie, big thanks go to my auntie, Madame Nestine Zikuba, Auntie Nestine Zikuba. This was my gift from her. And I like it. Again, sometimes I come out not only looking Koroboish, but with some small touch of Cameroon regalia on me. So again, I hope you're all doing great. I hope it's a good Sunday so far. As I say, today is that day that I come on to say a big thank you to the first 50 guests that I have had on the podcast. Right. Since I started this podcast in late 2021, it has been a journey. I have used it as an opportunity to reach out to people, to talk to, like, hey, I don't know a lot of people. Again, I'm not your most popular girl on the streets, but then I use my connections. The people I know who know people are the people that have been reaching out and say, hey, you know what? I've seen you in contact with this person. What about you talk to them? Can they be a guest on my podcast? Some of the people that have been on the podcast are people that are actually my friends, people that I have had one or two contacts with and who trusted this vision of a podcast, right, and accepted to be my guest. So today, in the next 2 weeks, I'll be starting the next season of the podcast. I'll be talking to more people. But before I get into my next 50 plus guests, I wanted to take this opportunity to come thank this guest I have now, to come thank this 50 people. Like, just like a joke, I've been able to talk to 50 guests on this podcast. Truth be told, I am so impressed. I am proud of myself. That's one thing I do a lot. I give myself accolades a lot because you listening, we come from a place where accolades are not very common. We don't praise people a lot when we have them. We have that tendency to write beautiful stories. We have the tendency to go ahead and write beautiful tributes to people who are no longer here. God forbid if you woke up tomorrow or next week and you heard that, hey, something happened to Solange Che. I bet that if I had the opportunity to glimpse on my timeline, a lot of people will say beautiful things about me. Of course, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I know for sure I have a good heart. So one thing I do is I give myself accolades. And if you're listening to me and that's not something you do, I want to encourage you to do it. Learn to sit back sometimes, look at what you have done, look at what you have achieved, and give yourself some praises, right? It's true that as human beings, we want to be able to hear from other people. You want the people who interact with you, the people who hang out around you, you want them to be able to say, hey, this thing you're doing is amazing, or hey, good job on this. And again, sometimes it doesn't always have to be the good things. It could still be like, hey, Solange, I watched this show and I think that you can do it this way. What about you add a little touch of this? If you're watching me now, you can see that my video quality is not the best. That is because I try to put things together before my time to go live and it stressed me out and I just decided to go with my default camera. My original camera I used for the show failed me. Right. So if someone came up to me and said, hey, Solange, this show you're doing, I have some tips and tricks for you that could make your video quality look better. Of course, I'm going to say yes. Thank you. So when I say praise people or give people their accolades when you still have them, that is what I mean. If there is someone out there, your family member, your friend, a colleague at work, anybody, a daughter, a son, your parents, somebody that does something and you feel like this is a good thing, please take a second, right? Just take 1 minute and tell that person that good job. Appreciate them for what they're doing. If there is anything they're doing that you think that, hey, this is amazing, I want you to be able to say, hey, this thing you're doing is great. Right. So that is what I'm on here today to do. One of my main goals today, apart from coming to say hello to you all after a couple of weeks that I've not been live, one of my main goals is actually to say thank you, to appreciate all those guests that have come to my podcast, all those people who have said, hey, so babes, I got you, I love what you're doing, and I'm willing to talk to you. So I do, that's why I'm here today. And to start this, if you've never been on my website, I'm going to go through my website. I've made like an appreciation video for all my guests, but I'm going to go through, I want to be able to go to my website and pull it up. And let's just talk through some of these people who have been guests on my podcast, right? So I'm hoping that you'll be able to see my screen share. Give me a second. I'm going to share this window. Great, there we go. So I'm hoping that you can see this. It looks like it's loading. There we go. So who you see on the screen right there is Dr. Kenji Obadia. Dr. Kenji was the first guest, the first person that said, yes, Solange, I am willing to come to your podcast. I want to come talk to you. I want to come share what, again, I talked to him in the time of in the heart of COVID-19. And he was that first person. You know what? Let me switch to the website instead. He was that first person who came up and said, hey, Solange, I am so happy to talk to you. Let's do this. And do I appreciate him? Man, a ton. You know what it means to be the first time that you're bringing somebody on your page, you're coming to talk to them. And he said, yes, man, that meant ton to me. So I'm going to go to all episodes. So if you've never been to my website, if you never visited my website, that is what it's called. It is solangeche.com. On that website, you'll be able to see all the guests that I've had on the podcast so far. There is a little bit of a lag, but let me see if I get this to show the way I want it to show. So again, today is a gratitude show. It's just me coming out to spend like the next 30 minutes of your time just to say thank you to the people who have been guests on my podcast, just to be able to say, hey, I appreciate you for coming. Why is this thing frozen? Give me a second. I'm going to refresh it and we see if it's going to get better. I see I'm frozen myself. Come on. Be nice to me. Yeah, for some reason it's frozen. That's okay. I'm going to close that up for now. And again, I was talking about Dr. Kenji. Maybe I should just go with the video and play the video and we talk about these different guests, right? This is me, Dr. Kenji Obadia was my original guest. We talked about COVID-19. We talked about the impacts of COVID-19 on us at that time. Again, it was in the core of COVID where we had that question, hey, should we take the vaccine? What do you think? Is it true that if you take the vaccine, so and so, so will happen? And he came on the show. He came and he gave us, he's a scientist, he's a doctor in science. He came up and he gave us his own input. He is someone that has done research in infectious diseases. And so, with his knowledge, with his experience, he came and he shared with us. And I bet you that that was very, very timely at that time. And again, Dr. Kenji, thank you again for accepting to be my guest. Thanks again for blessing to be, for thanks for being the first guest on my podcast and making the rest of the world know that I can trust this girl. You can come on her show and talk. So that is Dr. Kenji for us. So it's gonna play on. We'll see who the next guest is. My next guest after Dr. Kenji, my second guest was Ifang Akofu. Ifang Akofu is a lawyer and he practices in Atlanta, Georgia. And this guy is an amazing young man. This is somebody I went to school, university, okay, not secondary school, because I guess he went to an all boys school. So he was my second guest on the podcast, and it was amazing. We got to talk about some of the challenges he'll face owning a business in a country like the US. He shared with us some of the challenges he was facing. He did share with us some of his aha moments to those times that he has done great and felt like, oh, gave himself a tap on the back. We studied together at the University of Boya, and we did linguistics together. Then he left off to the UK and started law and studied law. So when we talk about what you studied in the university versus what you do today, he's my buddy with that because we both studied linguistics at the University of Boya, then switched. So while he is a lawyer now, today I am an IT consultant. So that is just the message or the lesson we brought out in this episode was that, hey, it doesn't matter what you have your bachelor's degree in. I even went as far as getting a master's and some PhD courses from linguistics, but I still switched when I found the need and the possibilities to switch. Right. So that was a core message in with my episode with him. So if you did not listen to that and you would like to hear him again, remember, just check out solangechair.com and you'll see all the past episodes in there. I'm gonna play this one and let's see who is next. Ha ha ha. This is Raul Fossey. Raul came to my show and we talked about invention. Not only invention, but he is one of those people who has lived, studied in Cameroon, came to the US, made his way, studied, had a good job, had a family and everything, then decided to pack his bags and go back to Cameroon. Not many people do that these days. Not a lot of people pack their bags from the US and say, you know what? In as much as there is this much trouble back home, there is this instability caused by the recent struggles we're going through. I'm going to go back home and work from there. I'm going to go back home and establish a business. And he has an amazing business. Again, just a recap of what he does. So he has a company, like for those of you who live in the diaspora, you live in any part of the world and you have constructions, you have a project going on back home or any place of the world, his company, they're working with oh god, I'm talking about it and I just forgot the name. Oh my god, Raul, where are you to help me? Oh, they are not robots. Somebody who is watching me. So they have this bots. How do you call them? Haley? Haley, come on. I'm not gonna forget this word. Haley. Haley. Come on, come help me. I lost the word that I need you to help me with. You know what's the name of this bot? It's a bot that flies in the air and it can make surveillance in places. Give me the name. Like this is like it's a robot that flies in the air.
A drone.
A drone. Yes. That is the name I'm looking for. It's a drone. So Raul is into stuff like that, and you're able to actually have drones survey and see how your construction is going on or your project, whatever kind of project you're doing. So again, if you're interested in stuff like that, you want to know more about that. Check out the episode with Raul. It says episode 17, but he was my third guest on the podcast. So you want to check that out and hear what Raul had to say. Was an amazing story, very emotional story. Like when he broke it on the Black Podcast show that he has decided to pack his bags and go back to Cameroon, I was like, whoa, Raul, are you serious? So that is my chat with Raul. Let's play on and see who's next. And la la, this is Ida Azefo. I spoke with Ida Azefo about money. Ida is that person that will tell you straight up that you are broke. I remember when I heard her talking, so she is a financial coach. She helps you understand your money. She also helps with taxes, especially in Canada. And I love her perspective. She's that one person that when I spoke to, she asked me those tough questions about how I manage my money and how like what do you do with your money, right? So talking with Ida actually made me take a couple of actions in my financial life that I wouldn't lie to you are very beneficial to me today, because I talked to her about my experience when I came to the US and some of the things that I had to do. And again, I talked to her about some of the high interest loans that I took when I came to the US and how long it took me to pay off those loans. So these are some of the things that she also has a page that you can check out. You can follow her, listen to her. Let me see, what is Ida's? I know she recently rebranded her page. But again, if you just type her Ida Azefor on Facebook, you'll be able to see she has amazing content when it comes to your money. So you want to check that out. Again, thank you so much, Ida, for trusting me. Thank you for being a guest on the You Can Be Anything podcast. That is why I'm here today. Let's see who is next on this list. So who is coming? Pouring their fruit. This is my no, 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 no. Go back 1 second. Go back 1 second. Let's go back to Buri. Yes, this is my girl. This is my homie. This is my buddy. Buri Bongfen Defru. Guri is also one person that trusted Solange Chair. She trusted So Babes, and she decided to come to my podcast to come talk to me. She shared her experiences. So when I talked to Buri, so Buri does a couple of things, right? She's a very handy person, a very handy woman. She was our SP when we were in St. Augustine, so she has that audacity in her, the way she carries herself. You're going to listen to her whether you like it or not when she starts talking. That is the kind of air she has, and I love her for that. So this is Buri Ndefru. When I talked to Buri at the time, we were talking about upskilling, right? The importance of learning new skills. And someone like her, she works in IT, but also Buri bakes and she braids hair, she does wigs. So she's that one person who will come and tell you the importance of side hustle. The importance of, yes, you might have a 9 to 5 job, but you still want to be able to use your skills, learn something new and do it. Buri shared her experience for us. Her background is in finance, but then as time goes on, she looked into the market. She looked for the skills that would be more appropriate for her lifestyle as a mom and as a wife. And she decided to pick up a new skill. At the time when I spoke to Buri, she was doing SQL, and now I bet you that she's a queen, right, in the SQL space. And she's doing amazing. And apart from doing her 9 to 5 job, taking care of her family, she still does wigs. So she sells wigs, she braids, then she also bakes. So it was so beautiful talking to Buri. Thank you again, Buri, for trusting your girls so babes. And thanks again for accepting to be a guest on the You Can Be Anything podcast. I appreciate you very well. Yeah. So then let's keep going. Oh, who do we have here? We have Primus Vehicle. Primus Vehicle is someone that I met just online because I was impressed with the things he was doing. I saw his art on LinkedIn. He is a trainer, right? So he teaches tech skills, different tech skills. So he has a school where you go to learn different skills. And so talking to Primus was amazing because I could hear him talk about me. I could hear him share his experiences about some of those students who come in from a completely different walk of life and they need to learn a new skill. Hey, if you're watching me, kindly send me a thumbs up or at least let me know where you're watching from. And if for some reason you have a favorite guest, if you have listened to my podcast before and you have a favorite guest, there is someone that was on the podcast and you think that that person was amazing, please go ahead and share. Let me know who it is. So please kindly comment that put that in the comment section. Your input. I would love to interact with you while I'm here. So that is who it is. This is Primo's Vehicle. And Primo still has a school where he teaches different tech skills and very, very much, very knowledgeable guy, very sweet talking, and the kind of person that will understand you and teach you and just make sure that you get the best out of your box, right? So I talked to Primos and it was also an amazing chat. Thank you again, Primos, for accepting to be my guest on the You Can Be Anything podcast. And I do appreciate you. Thanks again, man. Let's keep going and see who is next on the list. There we go. Ta-da! This is Vera Binglo Aza. I spoke to Vera Binglo Aza, and what attracted me to Vera. So when I called Vera and I asked her, "Hey, I would love for you to be a guest on my podcast," is because I wanted Vera to talk to us about life insurance, right? So she is into the insurance business, man. This girl is in that $1 million club. So if The truth is, I love what they do, and it takes patience. It takes you to know your stuff to be able to run in the spaces that people like Vera run in and to make the kind of money they are making in the insurance company. So I brought Vera up to talk to us about life insurance generally, to give us a tips on how, like, just give us a few tips, right, on the importance of having life insurance. And she did break that down for us to the list, like to the beats that even a baby will understand. So again, the episode is it's on YouTube. It's also on my website, solangeshare.com. If you want to listen to what Vera said, shared about the importance of life insurance, please check that out. And what she shared is something that, again, in our community, we see that we want to be able to work on things like this so we can avoid some of the unnecessary GoFundMe's, right? We want to be able to say, hey, you can buy a life insurance policy. Again, depending on your income and the purpose for which you're buying a life insurance policy, you can get a life insurance policy that will cover you, God forbid something happens, or not God forbid, when your time comes and you go away, the family you leave behind does not struggle, and they don't go around with GoFundMe's trying to raise money to put you to rest. So Vera did break that down in a very nice way. And again, Vera, I want to appreciate you. You made the time in spite of your busy schedule to talk to me, and you did dish out a lot of nuggets that I know for sure that people benefited from and they'll continue to benefit, because, as I say, my podcast is a repository, right? Whenever you think that there is something, or I had a guest that you love to listen to what they say, just hop over to solangechair.com. You'll find all the podcast episodes right there. So thanks again, Vera, for accepting to be my guest. Let's see who is next. Ha ha ha. This is Ivingwa. When we talk about empowerment, we talk about your mental strength. We talk about, like, how you carry yourself, the things you do, how, again, when I talk to Ivy, again, Ivy, accept my heartfelt condolences. Recently, she's been hit hard. She lost a couple of people from her brother and her mom. Um, and so, Ivy, again, I'm here to say thank you for accepting my invitation to be a guest on my podcast, but also want to use this opportunity to send you my heartfelt condolences during this time of grief. I know that you're a powerful person. I know that you have a brain of your own. You can control your brain. I hope that you give yourself a chance to grieve, and that once you're done, or however your body, your mind tells you to manage that, you'll be able to bounce back and continue to impact the people that you impact in this life, to continue to bring people together and remind people of the strength in them, which they cannot forget about. So I want to thank you again and accept my heartfelt condolences during this time of grief. Thank you, Ivy. Awesome. So let's go to the next guest. After Ivy, who did we have on the show? Ha ha ha. One bubbly little girl. Oh no, what did I do? I brought it back. Just when it's on Lily. Give us a second. Let's get back to Lily. I'm just gonna let it play until we get to Lily. Yep. There we go. Who do we have next? This is Lily Mbinglo. Lily Mbinglo is Vera Mbinglo's younger sister. Lily, she is the finest CPA you can ever have. This girl is amazing. Her personality, the way she carries herself, oh my God, the way she dances. I've been on Facebook and I saw her all over Facebook dancing at the BFU, right? The Again, I don't know the full meaning of BFU. Again, don't kill me for that. But the BFU is in Salt Convention. I don't know if it's all in Salt, but I know it's Bui. Right. So she's been there all weekend having fun. Lily is a CPA. When it comes to, if you own a small business, if you want to start a business, what happens to your taxes, all of those kinds of things, the whole entrepreneur, you want, like, everything that has to do with opening a business, how you can manage your finances, or when it's time for you to do your taxes and all of that stuff. This girl, she got your back. So Lily is Cameroon's finest CPA. She calls herself Abakwa finest CPA, but I think she is Cameroon's finest CPA. And come again, not only Cameroon, but one of America's finest CPAs. She is an amazing person, not only with her tact, not only with her knowledge, but her personality plays a big role in her business. And that is why I love her. And that is why I will always recommend her if you have any business needs when it comes to your taxes or how you run your business and all of that. Lily is who you want to go to. Thank you again, Lily Binglo, for accepting my invitation and for being a guest on the You Can Be Anything podcast. Great. Let's see who is next. Okay, so our first round of guests done. We're gonna go back and pick the next group. Okay, let's do this. This is fun. And I hope that you're enjoying it. Or if you come later on to watch it, you're gonna enjoy it too because this is good for me. I love that I can appreciate these people. I should have made this bigger. I don't know why I kept it small. Da-da-da. Who do we have here? You don't need to see. Okay, this is Ali. Oh no, this is not Alice. Come on, sorry. What did I do? I'm going too fast. There we go. Here comes Alice Quaban. Alice Quaban is an interior designer. Yes, she's also a scientist. Okay, she does those for scientific research and all those book things that she does. But you know what? What did we talk about? So with Alice on her show, on the show, on my chat with her, we talked about her journey into becoming who she is today. She shared with us her passion for interior design. And just so you know, I did hire Alice to design for me. Someday you're going to see the end product of that. And she is an amazing person, well spoken lady, very thoughtful. I had a great time talking with Alice. And again, if you are looking for someone to do your interior design, it doesn't need to be your whole house. It could still be just your maybe just a bedroom. Maybe you want to take it one at a time. You want to design your living room. Yes, you can contract Alice to do that with you. She does it remotely, and I bet you that she does a great job. She works with your money, she works with how much you want to put on that project, and she delivers. So if you're looking to design any part of your house or your whole house, man, do not hesitate to reach out to Alice Quaban. She is an amazing person, very diligent in what she does, and takes her time to deliver great customer service. So please do not hesitate to reach out to her in case you need her services. Hey, Alice, I just want to say thank you for trusting Soso Babes. I want to say thank you for coming to my podcast. There we go. Let's see who is next. Hey, who do we have here? Azi Ayafor. Yes, I did speak to Azi Ayafor. Azi Ayafor, we talked about his education in the US. We talked about how he went against the odds to study something that everyone in his family was like, are you sure you really want to do that? So he did share his experience with us. He's also a great athlete. I know when I talked to Azzy, he was always hitting the tracks. He's also a personal trainer, right? So he's based in New York. And for those of you who are there and you're looking for someone, again, as this is me advertising you. I don't know if there is a particular class of people you take, but all I know is that you do personal training. So Ezzy Ayofo was an amazing person. And he is an amazing person. We had an amazing chat, and I bet you that he can laugh for the world. Okay. Great personality, amazing guy. Shared his story with us. Very educative story. So again, if you're listening to this and you want to hear what he shared, please do not hesitate to go to solangechair.com and check that out. Thank you again, Azia, for accepting to be my guest on the podcast. I appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see what's next. Mr. This is my friend, right? You see Jack Joybird. Sometimes I shake in the night, and maybe I'm sleeping and I get up and I'm like, oh, what's happening? Or maybe I just want to distract myself a little bit. I go and Dr. Jafnyoy. Joybird is online live, teaching people business for free. For free, yes. This young man is an energetic man. Again, congratulations, Dr. Jaffney. When I spoke to you, you were a single man. As of then, I remember asking you that question on the show. But recently, I see that you have a beautiful better half. Congratulations again on that. So I spoke to Dr. Jaffney Joybird, and we talked about education, we talked about business, we talked about his success story. He shared with us the kind of upbringing he had. Again, he's one of those people who did not have the most glamorous upbringing, right? He's one of those people, one of those children who grew up struggling, who had to work, right, to pay for their own school fees, who had to stand for themselves. So when I spoke to Dr. Jaffney, I wouldn't lie to you, it was an emotional chat, listening to him share his story and how far he has come. Dr. Jaffney Joybert today is a very successful businessman. He's also a great educator. He's an employer. And I bet you that the people who work for and under him, with him, they have a great time doing so. Thank you so much, Dr. Jaffney Joybert. And one of the things we talked about, that's why I do have education on his description here, is because we talked about learning platforms. We talked about learning platform that he has worked on where you can actually go to learn skills. So Dr. Jaffney, I want to say thank you again for trusting my platform. Thank you for making the time on your busy schedule to come and talk to this babe. Yeah, I appreciate you and I say thank you. Berry water. Okay, let's go and see who is next. AA Beauty and Brains. This is Anam Bengam, your best scrum master that you ever come across. I brought Anna Bengham up because I came across her videos. I came up across some of the recordings she had shared about the Scrum Master journey. When I spoke to Anna, she shared something with me that left a crack on the belief that people have about Cameroonians in the diaspora. Before talking to Anna, or even up to date, there is this common belief that if a Cameroonian goes somewhere and they find, let's say you discover a skill that you can do a job in and you make way more money or good money than what you were doing previously, they always hold it to themselves and they don't want others to, like, Cameroonians don't like to show others the road. That is a myth, right? Which when I spoke to Anna, she just helped me break that thing down and say, you know what, that is not true. Because this is a young girl that found herself, she heard about Scrum Master, she learned it, and she had a job, a good job. She did not keep her job to herself because she realized that she was ahead of her friends, her circle of friends. So she was making way more money than her friends were making. What did she do? She told them, she went to them and said, hey, this is what this thing is about. This is what I did to get to where I am today. And you can do the same thing. Encourage them, did not only encourage them, but supported them through that journey. And as of when I spoke to her, four of her friend of fives were in the Scrum Master field. I think one or two of them even worked with her in the same company. That is what we say when we talk about supporting your own in Cameroon. This is a girl that supported her own. She took hers with her and they so that they can both make that good money and be able to bring in more people. Today, she does have a Scrum Master training. So if you're someone who is interested in Scrum and you're looking for someone that can mentor you, guide you again for a fee, of course, you want to be able to reach out to Anna Bengham. I do see her on Clubhouse. So if you're on Clubhouse, you want to check her out there as well. So please do check her out. If you're interested or you have a family member that is interested in Scrum Master, this is the right person you want to talk to. She's very resourceful. Thank you again, Anna Bengham, for accepting to be my guest on the podcast. I appreciate you, girl. Love you. Thank you. Awesome. Let's see who is next. Thank you, Sylvie. Your one and only Asafo Ivondikuma. This is your MC. So this is my brother. Ivor is my cousin. He's my brother. And I brought Ivor onto the show to talk to us about his experience as an MC in Cameroon. I had a great time talking to Ivor. He did share a lot about his experience. He shared a lot about the showbiz and the entertainment industry in Cameroon based on his knowledge. He talked to us about some of the challenges that you'll find someone like him who is not, he is a diplomat, yes, but also he is an MC. And so because he's an MC, he tends to joke a lot. Sometimes I see the things that he posts and I'm like, oh God, somebody shut him up for me. Somebody put him in a room and close it for me. Yes, that is the kind of person Ivor is. Very outspoken young man, but also if you listen to his episode with me, he did explain like why he goes, why he cracks the joke. Sometimes I feel that he's more of a comedian than even an MC. But yes, he is a mix of those and he does a great job. So if you have your events in Cameroon, you're planning for any events in Cameroon, hey, do not hesitate to reach out to MC Papandix. He is an amazing person. He's going to keep your show, your events very lively, and he's just going to make sure that people come and go and wish that they did not end. So please give it up for Ivor, Asa for Ivor, Fasa for Ivan Zikum. And thanks again, bro. Thank you for trusting my platform. Thank you for accepting to come to the show. Now he has a traditional title, which I have forgotten. I know he's going to come at me for not putting his traditional title in front of his name. But you know what? We're going to deal with that in the back. Thanks again, bro, for accepting to be my guest. Let's see who is next. Ah, that's in Celeste. My own Dorcas Nobody. So this is Dorcas. This is Tarzan Celestine. And Tarzan Celestine is also our own Dorcas, right? Our own beautiful comedian, our own beautiful cross-dresser comedian, Dorcas Nobody. I spoke to Dorcas, and again, it's so interesting how when I was reaching out to Dorcas, I was like, hey, is he gonna say yes? Is he gonna want to go? I know he's a public figure. Is he gonna say yes? Is he gonna come on my platform? But when I reached out to Dorcas, he was like, girl, I want to be there. Let's do this. Like his energy was just contagious. And before I spoke to Dorcas, I had spoken to Auntie Felicia. For some reason, my recording with Auntie Felicia was a total. I don't know what happened on that day. So the audio is really bad. I'm hoping that someday she will give me again Auntie Felicia or maybe um, Elonge will give me audience again, right? But so I like the two of them so much. But before I spoke to Tadzin Celestine, that is Dorcas, I had spoken to Auntie Felicia. But for some reason, Auntie Felicia's recording was terrible. You cannot hear anything. That's one of the reasons I'll probably not have her in the slideshow. But I'm still hoping that she'll accept to give me audience. Let's talk. And again, I just love these guys. This Dorcas Nobobi, he came on the show and I had an amazing time talking with him again. And I told him that I don't know if to refer to you as her or to him. When I'm talking about Tajin Celestine, of course, I'll refer to you as him. But when I'm talking about Dorcas Nobobi, I'm going to talk to her, right? So I want to thank you again. But because this is the picture of you that is on the screen and it's more of the Tajin Celestine than Dorcas Nobobi, that's why probably I'm referring to you as him, right? So thank you again for accepting to come to my show. We had an amazing time. You shared your story, you shared some of the skills you have, great hair braider. And again, not only when we come to the show, we are not only talking about the beautiful days, right? We're also talking about some of the challenges you're facing, and you're able to share that with my guests too. So I want to say thank you. Thank you again. My own beau, my sweet beau. I thank you so much. Awesome. Now let's see who is next. Ha ha ha. The Roy Mama. So everyone, I'm sure you all know. So again, as you can see, the way my management put this, I was hoping that they were going to put it in order, right? Like in the order in which my guests came, but they did a mix. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but we're gonna deal with it. So there are some people who came to the show way before I had Roy Mama, which we've not seen yet, but we'll see them in the next video. So this is my girl Roy Mama. We all know Roy Mama, right? Who from Cameroon doesn't know Roy Mama? Or who is on Facebook that does not know Roy Mama? This is Roy Mama. She is an online influencer. She I got attracted to her by the way she speaks, right? I came across one of her videos once, and the way she spoke, the softness in which she speaks, actually caught my attention. I was like, okay, this is nice. We know that we do have quite a few Cameroonian influencers on Facebook, and we know that like different people have their styles, right? Different people have their personalities and the way they do things. So coming from knowing all the other Cameroonian influencers on Facebook, then I came across, I was like, why is this one so calm? Hey, but don't get me wrong. There's been episodes on her show that she has yelled at people and she has screamed so hard. So it just happened that when I watched her, it was one of those days that she comes and she's playing some soft music in the background and she is talking. I think this day that I first saw her, she was talking about young girls, right? And how they get pregnant and they start asking for support where they could actually avoid it. So she was advising them on the, hey, do not have sex with somebody that you're not in a relationship with or somebody that you know is not going to get married to you. And even if you have to, please use a condom. Don't go get pregnant for someone who will not stand there or who will immediately deny your child. So that was a topic she was talking on, and I will never forget that topic because of how subtle, like it is a serious thing she was talking about, but the way her choice of words and the way she said it just felt like even that most recalcitrant child out there listening to her was going to absorb this information. So that is how I met her, reached out to her, asked her to be a guest on my podcast. Excuse me. And she said yes. So I had an amazing talk with her. She did share with us her experiences being on the some social media, being the people one person that people confide in, and how she manages this mixture of emotions because sometimes you have your own troubles that you have to deal with. Then people come into your inbox and they fill you with all these other challenges. And I had to ask her, I'm like, girl, how does that feel? How do you manage it? It could be traumatizing sometimes, the kinds of stories that people will come and share with you. How do you handle that? So, again, if you're interested in hearing what her response to that was, please do not hesitate. Jump onto solangechair.com and check out my episode with Roy Mama of the Roy Mama Show. Thank you again, my dear. Thank you, Jenny, for accepting my invitation and for trusting this podcast and being my guest. I appreciate you, girl. Thank you. Let's see who comes next. The lion. Next on the show, we have the lion. So, again, this is one other amazing person. I spoke with Stanlo Akisa. And for some reason, I don't know why my most recent guests are coming earlier than the older ones. I need to, yeah, this is my managing people behind here. I wanted this thing to be in chronological order, but you know what? Let's deal with it. So this is the lion, Stanlo Akisa. Stanlo is he's a designer, right? He's a fashion designer. Again, you can tell just from his picture that this guy is no ordinary boy out there. Hmm? He is no ordinary boy out there. He has an amazing personality. Again, there are some people that when you see what they have built for themselves, how far they have come, sometimes I feel a little reluctant. I'm like, if I approach this person, will he talk to me? Would they say yes? Even though they say in life you want to always be able to make an effort, right? I wouldn't lie to you. I do struggle sometimes when it comes to, hey, what if I approach that person and the person says no? Is that going to hurt my ego? Is that going to make me feel bad? Then I'm like, no, Solange, come on. If somebody says no, it's just a no. What's the worst you can get? It's just a no, right? So I do. When I reached out to Stanley, I wouldn't lie to you because I was not particularly close to him. I wasn't sure if he was going to say yes, and I did not get to him through someone who knew him. Actually, it's one of the persons that I actually approached directly. and you'll be surprised at how nice it was. So he's one of the people that actually gave me the courage to say, you know what, reach out to these people. If somebody says yes, that's fine. If somebody says no, that's fine. Thank you so much, Noella Go, for joining. I appreciate you. Thank you. So Stanley is Stan Lowe, as you see his name on there. He is a designer. I attended one of his shows in the DMV area earlier this year, and man, I crushed it. I don't care. I gave the swanky, and it was amazing. I had a beautiful time at the Swanky Experience show. Again, this guy is above and beyond. His level is Hmm. So I love him so much. Thank you again, Stanlo, for trusting my platform, for coming to share your dreams, share your efforts. We talked about designing. We talked about some of the things that you have done, some of the things that you're doing, some of the challenges, and some of your aha moments or successes. You shared all of those with us. And man, I do appreciate you. And thank you again for accepting to be a guest on the podcast. Thank you. Let's go to the next. Who is next? Gotta find out together. Pass, pass, pass. Awesome. So this is Atero Shoes. Rushes is a young man that I talked to Roshus from with like it came as a result of recommendation. Someone had reached out to me and said, "Hey Solange, you see these many people that again I've listened to you talk about upskilling. I've listened to you talk about the importance of learning a new skill and doing stuff. There is this young man called Roshus. I think that he will be a great guest on the podcast. I think that if more young people listen to him, they'll be motivated, they'll be inspired, and they will learn to trust themselves, believing that they can do more for themselves. So yes, I reached out to Russia. So I was like, hey, man, your grandson needs to talk to you. Hey, don't worry. Sometimes I like to pull that grandson card. So I reached out to Russia. So I was like, hey, Russia, can you please be a guest on my podcast? Can you just come and talk to us about your experience with Amazon? Come to talk to us about some of the things that you can share with anyone that is interested in the AWS world. Please just come and share your knowledge, your experience with us, and some of the things that people can do to excel. And so, yes, Russia said yes to my invitation. He did come on the show and shared his amazing stories, amazing experience, and he also gave some recommendations. So please, if you want to know more about Ateroshoes, do not hesitate to go to solangechair.com and check out his episode. Thank you again, Roshus Maramia. Thank you again for accepting to be my guest on the podcast. Let's see who is next. Okay, who do we have here? We have Ni Alene Menget. Who doesn't know Ni? We all know him, right? Again, if you're Cameroonian and you don't know Ni, then I don't know, you're probably nowhere close to the entertainment industry, right? So this is Ni Alene Menget. Ni is put into showbiz. He he practiced for a long time as a journalist, so he has quite a few documentaries to his name. He is also a great actor, and again, he I was just listening to him the other day, and he was talking about his role in the Ngannou movie. So again, Nate's an amazing man. When I reached out to him too, again, I love his voice. I love the way he speaks. So when I reached out to him and he sent a number, he's like, hey, call me. I reached out to him on Facebook. I was like, Nee, I've been following you. I listen to when you do your episodes. I generally admire the way you speak. And I don't know, would you want to be a guest on my podcast, please? And he replied with his number and said, hey, yes, of course, give me a call. And I called him and I finally heard that voice for real on my phone. And I was like, oh, this is an amazing way to talk. So that's one of the things I admire on me, apart from his talent and this. I love the way he speaks. And he has used there's a name that he calls it. I don't know, he calls it his gap, his something of the gap. I don't know. There's a way he calls that. And he came to the show. We talked about the entertainment industry in Cameroon. We talked about the challenges that our actors, again, he is an actor. He also does sing jazz, but we focus more his acting career and how, as an actor in Cameroon, they survive. We all know that even before COVID, things were hard. Then, when COVID hit, what about those people who are full time actors and actresses? How are they making money? What is happening? So Nee was able to dissect that question, gave us some very thoughtful answers, and I had a great time talking with him. Thank you again, Nia Lene Menget, for accepting to be a guest on my podcast. Again, you're one of those big names in Cameroon. And when I just wrote, I think I commented on one of your posts on Facebook and said, hey, I have a podcast. Can you please be my guest? And you replied on that post and said, hey, message me. I messaged you, and immediately you gave me a number. And by the time we knew it, less than a month later or 2 weeks, you were on the podcast. So I want to thank you again for trusting my show, for trusting small me. I'm sure what most people do when I ask them to be a guest on my podcast is they go check the page. Man, you can be anything podcast does not even have up to 2K followers, right? That's a page that I'm still following. But is it about the number of people that follow my page? Yes, at some point it's important to have those the big following. But also I think that my personality, what I do is what counts the most. So I appreciate all those people who do not come to my show based on the number of followers I have, but based on me, right? What is she doing? And I want to support her. So I still thank you. Slowly but surely, we're continuing to grow the page. We're inviting people to like the page more. And again, maybe someday it's going to grow up to be a popular page as well. Is the page popular? Not the most, but is this girl popular? Hell yes, I am. So I do thank you all so much for trusting me and for coming to the show. Thank you again, Nia Lene Menget. Let's see who is next. Okay, Nia was the last on that slide. Let's go back and find the next slide. Maybe I skipped one. I'm gonna go through this. I want to make sure that I go through all my guests again. I'm sorry, this might end up being a really long show, but I want to give all my guests the accolades they need. I want to be able to thank all of them for accepting to be my guest on the show. So yes, who do we have here? DJ Skipper. Yo, in fact, I stay up till like 2 a.m. on a live show hosted by DJ Skipper, dancing to this guy. His fingers are blessed. Sometimes in life, we ask God the question, Dear God, what is my talent? Right? We go around. It takes a whole lot of time for some people to discover what they are good at. DJ Skipper is blessed. His fingers, forget his voice. He sings amazing. He has that capability to mimic, like to copy the way, there is a word I use for that. But whenever my camera is on, my vocabulary goes whack. Right, but again, forgive me for that. But DJ Skipper can sing like any musician that you can bring to his DJ desk, say to his DJ corner, say, hey, we want you to karaoke this person. Man, he does it. DJ Skipper is an amazing DJ. He is not only a DJ, he's also in the medical field. And due to for personal reasons, he decided to get into the medical field when he had his twin boys. So he's also a tiny, right? So he did share his story with us about his experience with when his boys were born and what inspired him to join the nursing field, and he continues to study. I think when I spoke to him, he was in school. Again, these people, the school never ends, the book just keeps going, but at the same time he has the gift of his fingers. Like what this guy can do on a piano is amazing. So I would dance to him whenever he's live and I get to catch it. You can listen to him and forget that you need to sleep because he takes you back to the 80s when some of us were born and started listening to music and brings you right back to the current. He's also a musician, has a couple of songs, has his own songs to his name as well. So again, DJ Skipper, I want to say thank you for trusting my platform. I want to say thank you for accepting to be a guest on this podcast, sharing your story and being an inspiration to the people who listen to us. Thank you, DJ Skipper. Let's see who is next there. This is Musing Derek. If you have seen Stephanie Tom online accepting all of those awards, yes, Stephanie Tom is an amazing actress. But you know who is behind that amazing actress? The director of the movies. And this is Musing Derek. Musing Derek is a director, he's a movie director. And when I spoke to him, we talked about the movie industry in Cameroon. He said he acted a few movies when he just started his career, but he ended up like, hey, this thing is not for me. So when he shared his story, that is what he shared with us. And he decided to get into directing a movie. And he tells us about his journey. He tells us about some of the challenges they're facing in the Cameroon movie industry and some of the things that they are doing to to curb these challenges, right? To handle some of these challenges. So when I talked to him then, he that is when he shared the film room app. And what is film room? One of the biggest problems or the biggest challenges that the Cameroon movie industry has is a problem of distribution. We have had tons and tons of these actors and actresses, directors, movie directors, script writers, and all of those come up. And we've heard one of the most common thing you hear when they talk is the problem of distribution. And when I spoke to Musing Derek, he did share with us the Film Room app. So the Film Room app is an app that you can download both on Android and iOS and be able to watch Cameroonian movies. Because what are the consumers saying? Hey, we don't have Cameroonian movies on Netflix. We don't have Cameroonian movies on Amazon Prime. Where can we watch Cameroonian movies? If you're not in Cameroon, that you have to go again for the cinemas in Cameroon that show these movies. Where can you watch it? Apparently they don't even show these Cameroonian movies a lot on our national channels or our own country's channels. Where can you watch it? So that is why they gave birth or they put to birth or they birthed the Film Room app. So the Film Room app is a place where you can go to watch Cameroonian movies for a tiny little fee, right? So if you have not heard about the Film Room app, go ahead and listen to my episode with Musing Derek, and you will learn more. And again, check out that app. I use it, so I know there is some work currently going on it. But again, I have watched two movies on there already, and they were amazing. So thank you again, Derek. Thank you for accepting to be my guest on the podcast. Let's see who is next. Oh, and before I run off Derek, again, I am hoping that someday you'll be able to bring Stephanie Tum to be a guest on this podcast. So fingers crossed, we're still working on that. Now, let's switch gears a little bit more into the cloud, into technology, into IT. So, if you've been following this, you'll see that I don't have a specific niche. I don't talk to a specific group of people. I talk to everybody. I talk to everyone that has something to share. And that is why whenever I put all the posts out there that I'm looking for guests, I make it clear that, hey, if you have something to share, please reach out to me. If you're doing something or you have gone through an experience that you think that the next person needs to hear it and you think that it might be impactful in another person's life, please reach out to me. Go to Facebook, write to me, right? I am willing to take you on the show so you can share that experience because again, what experiences will help a lot of other people who might be going through the same thing you're going through. So that's why you see I'm into showbiz, I go into tech, I go into fashion, I go into mental everything, finances, everything. And so here now we have Shulika Tata. Lilian Shulika is a cloud consultant, as a cloud architect. And Lillian is again she used to be one of my juniors in secondary school, and seeing how far she has gone or she is in the whole cloud world, I wouldn't lie to you, just makes me really proud of her. Intelligent young girl, very intelligent woman. And one of the things when I talked to Lee, she did share with us her experience. And again, you hear me calling her, describing her as an intelligent young girl. Why is that? Is because she was one of those names that were being called in school when we're in school. Her name will come up as, hey, Staffongs, right? If you went to school in Cameroon, you probably have heard that word. She was one of those people that was dubbed as a Staffong back in school. But did that make it easy for Lillian to succeed in the cloud space. No, she had to work hard. She shared with us her story. She shares with us her what she had to do in order to be able to break through this cloud ecosystem. And that is one of the things that really caught my attention with Lillian, because she brought out her, yes, people who know her from scratch, from growing up in the secondary school, high school days, will tell you that, Lee would do that with Lee gets sense, right? But she was able to come out in her vulnerability and share with us how far or how much she had to study in order to get to where she is today. Today, she is a very successful cloud architect. She does an amazing job. And she even went ahead and she wrote a book on cloud computing for our kids. Right. So you want to check that out on Amazon as well. So if you just go to Amazon, you just need to type her name in. If you just type Lillian Shulika and you type cloud computing, the book will come up. So I want to thank you again, Lillian, for trusting my platform. I want to thank you for being able to share your story, to share your challenges, and to share your success stories. I think that those are some of the things that people like we need more people to hear, so they know they are not on their own, right? They are not by themselves. A lot of other people are going through what you're going through, and definitely you can come out of it. So thank you again, Lee, for accepting to be a guest on the podcast. Let's see who comes next. Haha, this is my brother. This is Christopher Okonkwo. Christopher Okonkwo is a Nigerian. And again, when I call him a Nigerian man, he's like, I'm not Nigerian, I'm a Cameroon, I'm a Cameroonian man, because yes, he grew up in Cameroon. He has made a lot of movies in Cameroon. He's into videography. He works with all these movie producers, and they are the ones that capture. Great photographer, great videographer, amazing behind the camera. And he did share his story with us. So just like any typical African home, where you see if your parents are medical doctors, they meant to make sure that their children follow the same route. So Christopher also had that kind of experience where his family is into real estate. And when he told his family that, hey, he wants to venture into videography, photography, well, they thought he had lost it. But then he had to take his time, prove to them that this could still work. He has actually gone back into real estate, but he was able to step aside and do what was a passion for him, which is photography and videography. So he's doing great at that base. He's now also involved in his family business. So this is just his lesson to us was like, hey, sometimes it's understandable that sometimes family puts a lot of pressure on us, on what they want us to become. But the way he handled it, of course, did he not have challenges? He did, but he was able to still stand up to his family and say, yes, I know real estate is your thing. I know real estate is a family thing, but I really love videography and photography. And he was able to do both of them. And today he's a successful guy. Thank you once more, Christopher Okonkwo, for accepting to be a guest on my podcast. Thank you so much for giving my podcast the international flair. I appreciate you so much, and we keep talking. Let's see who is next. Our own congressman. Are you somewhere in the DMV area? Are you somewhere in Maryland? Is it Maryland too? Something? And you have not seen this name? You have not seen flyers all over the place, or boards or t-shirts with this name, Gabriel Njinibat? Then you're missing out. Then probably you have not registered to vote yet. You need to. If you're in his zone, you need to go register to vote. So this is Gabriel Njinibat. When I spoke to Gabriel Njinibat, he had not, yes, he was thinking about running for Congress, but it had not started yet, right? He knew that was what he wanted to do. He did give us a little bit of like a little bit of salt on it, what he wanted to do. But then today, this is actively going on. So Gabriel Jinibot is a Cameroonian. This is man from Bali, very family oriented man, and He has been in the US for a long time. He shared his story with us, how he when he came from Cameroon and he was heading over to his university city. Last he didn't have any money. Somebody gave him some money and he was able to find somewhere to sleep. His story, right, of a typical Cameroonian who comes to the US with nobody to pick them up at the airport and stuff like that, and he has to fend for himself. He went through that journey. He has also worked in IT. He has done different things along the path. He is an entrepreneur. He owns businesses of his own. And today, currently, he is running for Congress. And so all of you who are in his zone, please make sure you go out and cast a vote for this man because you see how he looks in this picture. He already looks like a congressman, even though when we did this episode, he was not even in Congress yet. Oh, but you see, he already has a look of a congressman, even though he's not there. But again, is he going to do it? Is he going to make it? Yes, I believe he's going to make it because he has the personality, he has that charisma, and again, fingers crossed. All the best to you, big bro. We trust you and we continue to pray and support you that this goes well. Thank you again for accepting to be a guest on my podcast. We've had 2 episodes with you, and man, what did I do to deserve your presence? I appreciate you. Thank you, and all the best on the run. Let's see who is next. Naya. When we talk about beauty, I love to talk about beauty. I talk about makeup. I do wear makeup. I'm sure you can see that I'm a makeup lover. Of course, sometimes I can go without it, but I do love makeup. So Naya Ndefru is a beauty and is also a makeup consultant. So Naya has a beauty line, right? And when I spoke to Naya, Zolani is Naya's beauty line. So if you've ever heard of any Zolani beauty, makeup, lipstick, foundation, everything makeup, right? Naya does that. So I spoke to her. She shared with us her experience on running Zolani Beauty, founding Zolani Beauty. She shared with us how she started with running, having the few first food products she made in her car, in the trunk of her car, and subsequently grew up into a full business. And now today you can go to Zolani's website and you'll be able to find whatever product you need for your makeup. You see how pretty she is. She looks there, man, natural, neutral makeup, but amazing. Thank you so much, Naya, for accepting to be a guest on my podcast. Thank you for all the tips you shared. Thank you for your input, the input you gave around being able to wear makeup and what makeup does to people's personalities, right? And we know for sure that there are some people who don't believe in makeup. They're like, oh, I don't like it. But again, there are those people who, when they have their makeup on, it just gives them, and there is nothing wrong with that. It just gives them that confidence. It just raises their shoulders up and gives them that. It feels like if you've put them on that podium where they can be open and talk. So thank you, Naya, for putting more light on that and for normalizing wearing makeup. So I appreciate you, and again, I thank you for being a guest on my podcast. Let's keep going. Almost done. This is actually the last episode I have. This Agent Studios. What do you people do? So again, you can all guarantee and all swear that we all know Asaba. This is my girl Asaba. So I think what I've done is what is going to be the last video will be the people that are in between because this is my last set of guests. So I probably picked the wrong video to show. The middle one now will be the people that came before this set that you've seen now. But you know what? It doesn't really matter the the position in which I'm calling them out in. It just means that all of these people have been guests on my podcast, and I'm here today on this beautiful Sunday, just chilling. I should have had my glass of wine here, and just chilling and saying thank you to them. I'm getting a little thirsty, so I might get Haley to get me something to drink. So let's keep going. This is our own Mary Asaba. Asaga. So you see, you can tell from the list of guests I'm bringing up and showing this gratitude that it is not about where you are in life. It is not about if you are a popular person or you are an upcoming person or you are not even in the limelight. I don't care. I just want to talk to people. And it did take me some guts to be reaching out to our A-list artists. Again, I've reached out to a couple of them. I've not had any mean experiences yet. Fingers crossed, nobody has a mean experience with me. But Asaba said yes, I'm being a guest on my podcast. Asaba is my last guest I spoke to, and so she's my episode 50, and I had a good time. I talked with her shortly after her new song as of then, Charger, was released, a song she has with Mr. Leo. And we talked about life. We talked about Mary Asaba, not the artist, Mary Asaba, the young woman. She shared with us, again, very well spoken, beautiful heart young woman. When I spoke to her, I was like, wow, girl, I love you. See, I'm talking. Yes. Am I getting teary? I love you, girl. I just want to hug you. And to think that one of my favorite Cameroonian songs is Asaba's Mon Bebe. Not the Charger. Charger is nice, but I love Mon Bebe. That's one of my favorite. Again, just one of them. There's a couple that I really like. I love Tizzy Panchaks. If you as you the reason with your head, man, I love that song. So there's a couple of I love tons of Cameroonian songs, but I love Mary Asaba's Mom Baby. It does something to me. I think I have learned how to dance it. So it just like clicks, just clicks. I just know how to vibe to it. So yes, this is Asaba. Asaba shared her story with us. She did share. I had a few questions for her. Again, we talked about her baby daughter. Her birthday was just am I forgetting Joy? Joy is her daughter's name. We talked about Joy. Again, asked her questions about parenting with Joy's father, Mr. Liu, and she did express to us like, hey, she's doing great parenting with Mr. Liu. They're friends, they're taking care of their daughter, and I'm just happy at how she explained it when I talked to her about how she's handling this co-parenting thing. This is something that a lot of men, both men and women, struggle with when you have to co-parent. Sometimes it's just easier when it's one person doing it, but when both parents are in the child's life, and it sometimes it can be really challenging. So again, I did ask her that question, like, hey, how are you handling this? How is it going for you? And her response was, "Mwah," like, again, not wishing this on any woman, but if you could have a baby with a girl, Asaba is that kind of girl. So, not wishing that any woman should be a single mom, but again, when you look at the ones that already are, I think that her experience, the way she said it, right, the way she expressed it was like, wow, this is good. If every woman, every single mom or single dad had this kind of experience, I think that we'll have less troubles in the world. So again, thank you so much, Asaba. She did share her experience in the movie. Did I say movie? Oh my God. In the music industry, how far she's coming, whatever is happening, the challenges she's facing, and how she's crushing those challenges, right? And being her best version. Thank you again, Asaba, for trusting my podcast and for being my guest. I see you, Grants. Hello, I see you. I see how I enjoy my one. I enjoy yesterday for graduation. I'm watching you people. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Let's see who is next on the list. Should Asaba be the last on this? Let's see. I don't know because I trust my producers. Okay, so you see, Saba was the last on this list. We have one more video to go through, and it will be that we have made it through my list of 50 guests so far. So I think what I did was I was supposed to have come to this video before this one, but you know what? This girl can be messy sometimes. Thank you. Okay, this is our last show, our last list of. Oh, this is someone. Somebody help me. Now wait to beg. I don't go pick na wrong. I don't go pick wrong gigs. Why? Should I blame myself or should I blame my producers or my editors? Give me a second. I opened that today. What have I not opened today? I'm missing one. I'm missing like seven more guests. Let me see who's here. There we go. This is the one I'm looking for. Awesome. So we have a few more guests to go through. A few more guests I need to say thank you to. Then we're gonna close this show. I knew for sure it was gonna be a long show because man, I cannot come up here for 30 minutes and I say thank you to 50 people, especially if I want to call them out and say thank you to them, right? So yes, on this list we have the first person, Akwi Angel. So this is Akwi. Akwi, when she came on my show, I invited her to come to my show because I had been listening to and following her page. Akwi is a breast cancer survivor, and she did accept to come to the podcast to share her experience and the work that she and her team are doing back in Cameroon to, oh my God, losing words. Oh, to create awareness. That is the word I'm looking for. That's a phrase. The effort that she and her crew are going through, both in the US and in Cameroon, to create awareness around breast cancer. So we talked to Akwi again. It was a very emotional show because sometimes we see it again, beautiful girl, very bubbly, very lively. If you will not ever again, sometimes when you look at people, you can imagine that maybe that no, you will never even think that Akwi went through that breast cancer journey and came out this pretty. So I brought her in and she did share her experiences with us. She shared again, she talked to us about the pain, about the hair loss. She talked about the things that like the changes in her body when she went through her chemotherapy and how this the fear for a relapse and all of those things. She was very open in this episode. She shared her journey with us and how she's stepping up, right? What she's doing to create this awareness. And again, Akwi, I want to say thank you, my dear. I appreciate you for trusting my podcast and for coming on to talk about something that can be some people might choose to hold so private, right? You did not hold your journey private. You did not hold your cancer journey private. You decided to come to the podcast and share it so that again, I bet you that you're not the only one that's going through that. Again, even if you just want to look in our age group, you're not the only one. There's a ton of other women who are experiencing that, but listening to you probably and most probably gave them some hope. Like, hey, you see, Akwi beat this thing and she's living a beautiful life today. So can I. So I want to thank you so much for accepting to be a guest on the podcast. I love you, girl. Let's go to the next. Who do we have here? Do I share a last name with this babe? This is Elvira Chair. This is Ice. This is my own baby sister. So you know how when we were small, they say if you count the knobs behind your neck, I don't know the medical term for that, but you know that some people when they bend their neck like that, you can count how many of those things. This person is the first of mine. So this is my younger sister, Ice. Again, you can see that it says Elvira Chair. We have the same last name, but we call her Ice. Even her father and her mother call her Ice. Whatever Ice means, she probably stole that name from one of her big brothers. It's what we do in the family. We take other people's names, and we make them ours, just like another person has taken wheels from another person. I'm not gonna call no names here, but again, this is Elvira Chair. So Ice shared her story on the platform. She shared with us her journey from, again, we talked about her childhood, growing up. We talked about um, her journey when she left Cameroon, went to Germany to study for her master's, coming into the US, her journey of like getting used to the US world, and also her journey like photography. Why photography? Why would a pretty girl with a pretty ass and pretty body just wake up and go grab a camera and say they want to go be a photographer? So Ice explained to us why she has a thing for photography. So if you want to know more, please do not hesitate to check out that episode I had with Ice. She did share a couple of fun facts about herself as well, which I really enjoyed. So please do not hesitate to check out my episode with Ice. Ice is also, again, she's an example of that person who starts, who builds, like there is a trajectory, right? She builds on it. So she did share with us how she started off in the US. Again, she is an Amazon, how do you call it, AWS trainer today. And man, it takes some steps to get to where she is today. So, Ice, I want to say thank you for accepting to come to my show. I do not feel entitled that because you're my sister, you're going to say yes to being my guest. I feel honored that you say yes to being a guest on my podcast. You shared things that were personal to you on the show. And again, I appreciate that so much. I am not obliged to love you, but you know what? I love you anyway, girl. Thank you for accepting to be my guest on the podcast. Yes, let's see who is next. Does she look like me? Hmm. I'm looking at the picture. I'm looking at myself. Does she? I don't know. I don't know. Let's just go to the next guest. Here we come. This is Chocho. This is a Songwe Cho. So, Chocho is a brother of mine. Again, you know, if you're Cameroonian, you know the brother. Chocho is my cousin. Yeah, but we are brothers, right? I'll call him my brother. And Chocho is an entrepreneur. And when I spoke to Chocho, we talked about his business. So he had a business that he was running, and the whole idea behind the business, being able to give loans to small business owners so that they can go run the business and pay daily, right? I did feel like, or I was convinced that that is a very beautiful business model where somebody doesn't have running capital and they can go to his organization and they loan money from there. Or what his organization would do is they will buy products. Let's say I decided to have a breakfast business, right? I'm somewhere in Douala Yaoundé, Bamenda. I want to Bafsam. I want to have a breakfast business. So what happens is you can loan money. They can buy you the stuff you need to have to make breakfast. Maybe I remember when I used to travel. Again, I'm a Bamenda girl, but I don't know Bamenda town. I know Akum because I lived in a village. I grew up in Kumbu, but when I was in Bamenda, I lived in my father's house in Akum. So I am not particularly versed with Bamenda town. But one place I know in Bamenda is Amumezam Park. Hmm? That is where I know Commercial Avenue and Amumezam. Those are my two places I know in Bamenda. So that I would say I really know I can talk about. So I've been to other places, don't get me wrong, but those are the places where, again, if you close my eyes and I breathe the air around there, I probably know where I am. So, so the whole, for example, I was talking about the example at Amomezan Park. You know, I used to go there in the morning. You're traveling and you get like a breakfast sandwich, egg and bread, and you drink tea and you go. So the business model, from my understanding of what Chocho explained to us, was like, hey, people can take money and have businesses like that. Then as you sell during the day, you have a percentage that you pay. So you're paying back your loan daily. And I was convinced. I am convinced that that is a very beautiful business model and that can be beneficial to a lot of people. So again, that is what Chocho does. I know he's also into the market, stock market, but we do not talk about that a lot. We talk more about his organization where he does the money stuff with people who want to open small, supports people who want to open small businesses. Hey, Chocho, I want to say thank you again for trusting my platform. I want to say thank you for coming to share your story on the platform, right? How your journey on being a business person and what you do, some of the challenges you're facing. So I want to say thank you again for trusting Solange Chair. Thank you for trusting me as your sister, as a podcast, as a podcaster, and for accepting to be my guest on the podcast. I say thank you, Mia. Let's keep going. Who next? Nadesh. So go. This is Ndesh. This is Nadesh. Nadesh Ngam. Nadesh Ngam has a beautiful story, right? When she came to the show, again, before I even talk much about her, she has an amazing voice. Like I talked about Jerry Skipper, DJ Skipper earlier on, how he can sing. Like if Nadesh sings to you, what? Because I was just talking about it, and that song came to my head. Like she sings in all these different Cameroonian languages, and I'm like, this girl, are you not supposed to be a girl from? I think that she's either. Nonso Oku, or one of those like who saw you come out with singing all of these songs like you that's your original first language or mother tongue. But again, people find their gifts, and that is one of the gifts that Nadesh has. She has a beautiful voice. So Nadesh also sings. She has songs to her name. She's an artist, and on the podcast, she did share it with us. Her story. She did have, again, you will listen to the podcast and talk about it. I'm not trying to get emotional here now, but she shared to us her story. We did talk also about how she's living with a child that has autism. She shared that. She does have a page on Facebook where she's sharing the experiences as a parent, as a mom, to a kid that is autistic in the US. So again, that was beautiful of her to have shared. That was beautiful of you, Nadesh, to have come up and talk about these things. Not a lot of parents go onto social media or pick up the mic and they talk about their experiences with their kids, right? So you were able to do that, and I bet you. I know I reached out to you after the show, and or I followed one of your live shows, and you did express that a lot of people reached out to you and say, "Hey, now you know what? I'm in the same shoe. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing some of the things you do when your kid gets like this." Again, it was very helpful to us. And so, Nadesh, I want to say thank you again for accepting, for trusting me to come, trusting that you could share your story on my platform, in spite of how emotional that got, and you were able to spill out your vulnerabilities as a mom and your stories, your earlier stories as a young girl and girl. I appreciate you. Thank you again for accepting to be my guest. Thank you. Let's see who is next. Kicking for. This is my baby girl. This is Nancy Kiki. Nancy Kiki is an amazing artist. Okay. The kinds of things that this girl can draw on her face or the face of someone else, you'll be like, who just did that? So, and I'm a little bit surprised when I saw Nancy's page, which means this is an art, this is a talent that she always had even while we're in Boya. So I met Nancy when we were in UB, which means this is a skill that this young lady had. And she said she used it during her biology classes to draw her biology diagrams. If you're one of the reasons I love biology, again, I'm an artist, but I love biology all the way to from 5 because I enjoy drawing those things. Will come and tell you to draw a grasshopper. They'll tell you to draw a frog or a toad. They'll tell you to draw the human anatomy. I'm sure that if you went to school, the kinds of schools I went to, you experienced that too. So she did say, well, because I asked her that question, how come I never knew you were so great of an artist when you were in Cameroon? And she said, yeah, she did. It was not, again, all she did in Cameroon at UB there was be a pretty fine gay face and did her biochemistry school and that. But I did not know she was an artist until she brought that out. And I was like, girl, that's quite a talent that you've been hiding. And she said she used that talent in her biology notes. I'm like, are you serious right now? So, yes, she is an amazing makeup artist. And she shared with us her story. So, I spoke about her art part because that is the fun of Nancy. She was also able to come out and talk to us about her challenges in life, right? She shared with us that she's had psychotic episodes after she had her baby. She had a really severe postpartum depression, which again, slowly and surely, she sought help and she was able to get out of it. I'm so happy. I always tell her that one of the best things that I heard from you while talking to you was the fact that you're working on it and you're able to get out of it. And I'm happy, also so very happy that she did share that she has the support of her family and friends that are around her. So she did bring up the whole idea of listening to people, talking to people, because sometimes people can be going through thing again. I told her I would check on her, I'll see her pretty paintings and I'll reach out. I'm like, girl, this is the bomb.com. But again, I'm probably sending that message in the middle of the night when she's having a difficult time. But I did not know. But I was just more focused on the success, on the pretty paintings she was sending out. And that's why I had the call to action like, hey, sometimes Just reach out to your friends and families. Ask them how they are doing. Don't only call them when you need something from them, or when you need a favor from them. Just call to check on them. Mind, hey, how are you doing? How about the work out today? Hey, how work the go? What is happening? What is exciting in your life these days? Or what are you so pissed off about today? So you have to be able to use some of those conversational triggers, right? That will make people to talk, right? And that's the lesson I picked up after I spoke to Nancy. And since I spoke to her, I'm doing that a lot more. So thank you again, Nancy, for accepting to come to my podcast and for being vulnerable and for sharing with us your challenges, your most vulnerable moments. You were able to talk about them on that podcast. So thank you so much. And if you want to listen to Nancy's episode again, do not hesitate to go to my page. You can be, no, sorry, no, you're not the page. You find it. It's better to go to the website, solangechair.com, and you'll see all the podcast episodes there. Thank you again, my pretty face Kiki. I love you and just keep being awesome and pretty. Thank you, baby. Awesome. Who is next? Okay, so again, you see, I have another episode. I didn't mention that we're going to have another episode of Gabriel Genibat. So this is the episode in which we're talking about um, we talk about running for Congress now. So again, the same things that I said. I still thank you so much, Gabriel Genibat, for accepting my invitation and for coming on the podcast to share your ambitions. We are behind you. You have all the moral support we can give you, and we got this. Let's keep going. Nice. Then we have my very own podcast colleague, CJ. I spoke with Mr. Songwe, and he's also a podcaster like me, CJ's podcast. And we talked about his life. Man, this guy is in love. The kind of love that this guy is brandishing on my face. I'm like, CJ, I'm gonna get myself a boyfriend, and I'll come show off to you as well. So CJ is my buddy, amazing young man. I spoke to him and we had a great episode together. We talked about again running the podcast, what his motivation is. He is great on relationships. That's not something that I talk about a lot because I know I am no pro. So he's great on that. He gives tips on that. That's why I call him a lover boy. He gives great tips on relationships. And I had a good time talking with him, and just after listening to his podcast, then having him as another podcast buddy talking, it just felt really good. Quite an interesting episode. So please do check out my episode with CJ, another podcast colleague of mine, and just hear how we vibed, right? It was great. I wouldn't lie to you, an amazing one. So do not hesitate to check that out. Let's see who is next. Mr. Ivan. So again, I tell you, I talk to people from everywhere. I talk to people from all walks of life. People who do all the things in the world. So this is Ivan Yengwa. Ivan has iWing Marketplace. So he is the founder, the CEO of iWing Marketplace. And iWing Marketplace is an amazing marketplace. I have marketed on Marketplace before. And again, I'll market it again today. So iWing Marketplace is an amazing place where you can get a ton of things, right? So I call iWing Marketplace our own Amazon. If you're looking for anything, like you sit today, you feel like you need to eat chin chin. You don't know where to go buy that chin chin. You don't want to make your chin chin. Scroll, just open your browser on your phone. If you don't have the app, it's great. I know he has an app now. Oh, again, why again? I don't even want to be obliging you to go download the app. Just go to your browser, type iwingmarketplace.com. You'll be able to see all those businesses that have been listed, all those people who make ching ching, whether in here in Tennessee or in Atlanta, Georgia, or in New York or in the DMV area or in Texas, wherever. You'll be able to find us and you can order them. So people list their businesses on iWing Marketplace, and you can reach out to those business owners and and other stuff, right? I have personally used it a couple of times. I have ordered soya from iWing Marketplace from somebody that prepared it in. I think the soya came from Maryland. I have ordered grilled again. So my last birthday, I just wanted to chill and relax, no cooking. I ordered my canned stew from Texas. I ordered grilled fish. What else did that lady make for me? So I just went to iWing Marketplace. I looked for the people who sell all those things and I ordered the food. right? I was just not in the mood to cook because I just wanted to feel pretty on my birthday. And I ordered all of this food, and the food came in, and I enjoyed it with my guests. So, again, Iwing Marketplace is an amazing place where you can go to find any skill. Again, you will not find only food. I'm talking about food because, yes, this girl loves her some food, but you also find other skills. You, if you, let's say you want to learn a new skill, you get up and you're like, oh, you know what, it's time for me to learn Salesforce. If there is somebody that has a Salesforce school, they must have listed it on iWing Marketplace, and you can contact those people. You want to learn AWS, you want to learn any skill, you want to become a Scrum Master, hey, you're looking for a great photography shoot, you go to iWing Marketplace and you'll be able to source those skills from that space. So thank you again, Ivan, for accepting my invitation. I met you at Swanky Experience, and it felt so good to just give you a hug and say thank you again. But this is me again officially saying thank you to you for accepting to be my guest and for blessing my platform with your presence. Thank you, sir. Awesome. A few more to go and we're out of here. This girl is thirsty. Yeah, yeah. Your skin, you know, when they say black don't crack, Funking Dolly says that is a lie because black cracks. Okay. So I spoke to Funken Dolly. Funken Dolly is a beauty. I'll call her a beautician, skincare. She's big with skincare. I just speak with Funken Dolly, and she shared with us again her journey. She shared up on her business because she does skin consulting. So she's a skin consultant, right? So if your skin is having issues, you can always reach out to Dolly. She's very popular on Instagram. She's online making live shows and showing you what you can do. Again, I have always used sunscreen before, but after talking to Dolly, I took my sunscreen usage to the next level. And has that helped? Absolutely. So again, Dolly, I want to say thank you for accepting to be my guest on the podcast, for sharing all the nuggets about skincare that you shared with us. And one of the most important of it that you shared was the importance of using sunscreen on our melanin skin. Okay. Because we tend to think that black don't crack when black actually does crack. Thank you, girl, for putting a nail on that. Let's see the few more guests we have. Yeah, and to think that my brother is almost the last. My own brother. Faiwo Kitaf. This is Shang Samoa Afons, Faiwo Kitaf. This guy is my brother. He's also one of those people that in school we used to call Stafong. He doesn't like you when I say that, but it's true. He was a Stafong when we were in school. So I brought Samoa Shang on Faiwo Kitaf to talk to us about AWS, and he has a group where he's encouraging people, supporting people. So you know where there is this space. So whenever I think of him, I'm thinking of a space where people go through the door, you learn a skill, you get a job, and you're hanging in there so that you can help the other people that are coming in. So the amount of people that this brother of mine has encountered on this journey that he has decided to teach people AWS. He brings in people, so he will teach himself, bring in people who have the knowledge to also teach. Man, that is like how much more can you give our community? So I look at him, whenever I look at him, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm very thirsty. Whenever I look at him, I'm looking at him as that person who his give back to the community is humongous, in Haley's words, right? And he has a huge team, and he'll have all those people that will come and talk to you about the importance of learning a new skill, how you can handle some of the challenges that you face. And it's just beautiful that there is that space where we have the pros and we also have the newcomers, and they mix together and support and help each other. So again, I want to thank you, Faiwo Kitaf. Through Cloud Heroes Africa, you are doing an amazing job. Kudos to you. And again, I might not be the face of it, but you know that whenever you need me, it is a single phone call that you need to make, and I will be there to support you however I can. Thank you again, bro, for accepting to be a guest on my podcast. I appreciate you. Very well. Awesome. Yay! This means that we have gone through all the guests on the podcast. So to think that I am so honored to have been able to end this up with Fiwo Kitaf. Thank you. I started it off with Dr. Kenji Obadia, and I ended it up with Fiwo Kitab. It is amazing. These are very dear people to my heart. These are people who trust your girls, so babes, and they were able to come onto the podcast to say, "Hey, Solange, we got this." Okay, we know that this could be nerve wracking sometimes when you have to go about looking for guests to come and talk, but you know what? We, your people, we got this. And this is what the first 50 people that I've just gone through during this live show, this is what they did to me. They trusted my vision. They said, "Hey, so I'm going to come on that podcast. I don't care how many followers you have, but I know that what you're doing is great. Even if it means that one person gets inspired by what you're doing, I'll be there." So this is a close to my first 50 guests. I'm happy that I've been able to come on live today to appreciate you people, to thank you all for being a guest on my podcast. I do appreciate it. Like, people don't even know how much that means to me. So again, if you're watching this live show later on or somehow, know that you can always bounce onto my website, solangechair.com, to check out all the podcast guests that I have had so far. Amazing people that I've spoken to. I have actually taken the time this afternoon to review all of them, to just go through and thank them individually for accepting to be on the podcast. So if you just go to my page, you click on the episodes tab and you scroll there, you'll be able to see what I am talking about. So you see here, we have all the people that, if I take a quick glance, I doubt if there is anybody that I did not mention. I feel so proud of myself. I went through everybody. I see all of these faces. I have spoken about each and every one of them. I have given each and every one of them their special thank yous. I have, there is one person I missed. To think of it, it's this one. Oh, the beginning, right? To give myself and my daughter Haley some accolades. So I want to thank you all again. Come to my page, go to solangechair.com, check out my podcast, listen to the episodes, give me your feedback as I begin talking with my next 50 plus guests, which will be starting in 2 weeks. I want you to know that I am open to talking to you who is listening, or if you know anyone who might be willing to be on the podcast, please do not hesitate to connect us. I will reach out to them and talk to them. So I want to thank you all so much for being with me. Again, this is the longest I've ever been live, but it was so worth it. So worth the time. So worth the thirst that I feel in my throat now. And I do hope that you all have a beautiful day. Remember, just bounce to solangechair.com. Check out the podcast episodes. You will see all the amazing 50 guests that I have spoken to. Then help me. Okay, this is me asking for your help. I'm not only asking for you to help promote my page and get as many followers as possible, but I also want you to be able to help me let us get more guests on the platform. So please, if you know of anyone that can be a guest, do not hesitate to connect me with them. I love you all so much. I'm running out of breath. This has been an amazing time. And I'm not sure, Sylvie, if you're still here. Do not go to the podcast page. Go to Solange Chair on Facebook. Go send me a message in there, and I will give you your 25,000 francs CFA giveaway for today. Sylvie, Afani Sylvie, please, I'm waiting for your ping. Please do not use the podcast page. Do send me your ping on Solange Chair, my personal Facebook page. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. I love you all. Thank you for trusting this babe. Thank you for hanging on with me. And I hope that as we begin the next 50 plus episodes of the podcast, we are going to see more amazing faces. We're going to listen to more beautiful stories, and we're going to have amazing times, right? I love you all. And please remember, be good to each other on this journey we call life. Okay? Thanks and bye bye. Hopefully, I see the button to stop the live broadcast. Happy week, my people.